What's going on, Exile? Welcome to my Poison Reave Assassin, which is currently running a 5-link setup in all of the content in this video. It's a good all-round build with a ton of evasion and poison damage. The easier bosses you can simply kill with Reave, like you can see in the video right now, but for the toughest bosses in the game you can simply switch out Reave for Blade Flurry and they become quite easy as well. The unique items that I use for this build are the Wasp Nest. I use the Wasp Nest for the chance to poison on hit, as well as adding 80 to 120 chaos damage whenever an enemy is affected by 5 or more poisons. For chest I use Dendrobit, so whenever I have 300 dexterity I get up to 100% increased damage with poison, and if I have at least 150 intelligence I get 25% increased poison duration. You also get an added level 10 lesser poison to all of your socketed gems. And then I use a Lacosidate shield so none of my hits can be evaded. Lastly, I use a Starconia's head for the crit chance, the attack speed and the high evasion rating. For rares, these are the stats that you're looking for. Basically you want life and all res on all of your items. For rings and amulets you want physical damage, you want some res, you want life, as well as some added chaos damage to attacks. You also want some intelligence on this gear, so you can get the 150 minimum needed for the Dendrobit bonus. As a belt I use a Stygian Wise rare belt with life and resist, and the socketed gem I have in there is life, crit multi and chaos damage to attacks. For flasks I use an instant life flask with immune to bleeding, and I use a crit chance flask with immune to curses, and a serious promise, an onslaught flask with immune to freeze, and then I use a Sin's Rebirth for the increased evasion rating and gaining Unholy Might. The main gem setup that I use for this build is Reave, and with Reave I have added chaos damage, I have multi-strike, I have vile toxin, and I have unbound ailments. If you can get a 6th link then you want to add deadly ailments. For the tougher bosses I switch out Reave for Blade Flurry, and then I also switch out multi-strike for melee physical damage. In my helm I use Despair with Blasphemy, then I have Enlighten and Grace. In my gloves I use Wither, and with Wither I use Spell Totem, increased duration and faster casting. Then in my boots I have my movement setup, which is Whirling Blades, and with Whirling Blades I have 45, faster attacks and blood magic. And in my weapon I use Blood Rage, Summon Lightning Golem and Vaal Haste. And then in my shield I use Cast from Damage Taken level 1, Immortal Call level 3 and increased duration. For the skill tree, these are the progressions that I went with. The two major keystones that I picked up for this build is Perfect Agony, which modifies to crit multi, also apply to my damage multiplier for ailments from critical strikes at 30% of their value. And then I went with Acrobatics, that gives me 30% chance to dodge attacks. Other than that I went with mostly life, crit chance, crit multiplier damage and as well as claw damage. For Ascendancy I went with Noxious Strike, that gives you 40% chance to poison on hit. You get some crit chance and some increased poison duration. You also have a 50% chance to maim poisoned enemies. And then I went with Toxic Delivery, that gives you 10% reduced damage taken from damage over time. Your poison inflict critical strikes deal 30% more damage, and you gain 20% of physical damage as extra chaos damage against poison enemies. And thirdly I went with Unstable Infusion, that gives you 10% chance to gain power charge on crit and 20% chance to gain power charge on non-crit strikes. And then lastly I went Deadly Infusion, that gives 8% chance to crit multiply for every power charge that you have, as well as 2% crit chance while at maximum power charges. It also gives you an additional maximum power charge. For leveling I always recommend using a Tabula Rasa. I started leveling with Frostbase from level 1 until around level 34, when I could equip 2 Morten Morsu claws, and that's also when I switched over from Frostbase to Reave and started using my poison gems. Other uniques that I use while leveling are Victorious Flight Boots, Astronaut's Mark Helmet, Nocturnal Caress Gloves, Darkness and Throne Belt, and 2 Blackheart Iron Rings. The main pros for this build is that poison does a lot of single target damage. It's a decent map clearer and it's a fun non-meta build. And the main cons for this build is that you cannot run physical reflect mods. Poison enemies doesn't always die instantly and evasion can be a bit random at times.